This is Max and Mia podcast.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Max and Mia podcast. I'm Max.
And I'm Mia. Really glad you're here with us today.
So, Mia, honest question, how's your week been? And I mean, actually, not just, it was fine.
Okay. Honestly, it started rough. I had one of those Mondays where everything takes twice as long as it should. And by Tuesday, I was already done with the week mentally.
I feel that. Mine was kind of the opposite, though. Started slow, and then Thursday just hit like a wall. Back-to-back stuff all day.
Ugh, the Thursday wall. That's a real thing.
It absolutely is. Okay, so I've got a question for you all listening right now. And be honest with yourselves here. When something goes wrong during the week, do you tend to just push through it? Or do you actually stop and deal with it?
Because we were talking about this before the episode, and it's kind of surprising how different people handle that.
Right. There's no wrong answer. Just something to think about.
All right, so it's Friday, which means we do things a little differently around here.
Every Friday, we take things up a notch. This episode is aimed at B1 and B2 levels. So if you're intermediate and you've been feeling like you're almost ready to push into advanced territory, this one's for you.
And if you're still building up from a more basic level, don't go anywhere. Think of this as a challenge. A good one.
The best kind. Today we're diving into something that comes up constantly in real conversations, and yet most learners never feel fully comfortable with it.
Stay with us.
So here's what we've got for you today. 3 scenarios, 3 real-life conversations.
And the thing these 3 have in common is that none of them happen when you're relaxed and comfortable. They happen when you're under pressure, when something's at stake, and when the wrong words can actually cost you.
That's what makes them so important to practice. It's not just about knowing English, it's about knowing exactly what to say in the moment.
We're starting with something a lot of people dread. Picture this. You need to cancel your gym membership. You've got a valid reason. You're moving, or you're leaving the country for a while. You give them a month's notice. Totally reasonable, right?
And then the person at the front desk tells you it's impossible.
Classic. So in this first conversation, we're going to hear how Allison handles that. Watch how she pushes back without ever being rude or dismissive. The words she chooses, the arguments she makes, that's what we want you to pay attention to.
All right, let's get into it.
Good morning. Welcome to Fit Zone. How can I help you?
Hi, good morning. I'd like to cancel my membership, please. I'm relocating next month, so I wanted to give you as much notice as possible.
Oh, I see. Cancellations are actually pretty complicated with our system. There's usually a 6-month minimum commitment, and I'd have to check where you are in your contract.
Sure, I completely understand. I've actually already looked into that. I signed up 7 months ago, so I'm past the minimum. And I believe the contract includes a relocation clause, a force majeure relocation clause, to be specific. That should cover situations like mine.
I'm not really familiar with that clause. I don't think we process cancellations that way here. You'd probably need to send an email to our head office, and they usually take a few weeks to get back to people.
I appreciate you mentioning that, but I'd really prefer to handle this in person today if possible. The clause is in the original membership agreement, Section 4, I believe. It states that members who are required to relocate more than 50 miles from the nearest branch are entitled to cancel without a penalty fee.
Look, even if that's the case, I don't have the authority to process that kind of cancellation. My manager's not in until Thursday.
I understand you might need your manager's approval, and that's completely fine. What I'd like to do today is submit a formal written cancellation request with today's date on it so that the notice period starts from now. Could you help me with that?
We don't really have a form for that.
That's okay. I can write it by hand or even send an email right now while I'm here, and you can confirm you've received it. I just want to make sure there's a record of when I submitted this. I'm giving you more than 30 days of notice, which is what the contract requires.
Let me pull up your account. What's the name?
Allison Carter. And just so you know, I'm not trying to make this difficult. I've genuinely enjoyed being a member here. I just need this sorted before I leave.
Okay. Yeah, I can see your account. You've been here since March last year. I'm gonna flag this for my manager and have her call you tomorrow morning. Is that all right?
That works for me. Could I get something in writing confirming that this request has been logged today? Even just an email to the address on file.
Yeah, I can do that.
Perfect. I really appreciate your help. Thank you.
No problem. Sorry for the back and forth.
Don't worry about it. Have a good day.
Okay, that was a good one.
Right? And what I love is that she never raised her voice. Not once. But she was completely firm the whole way through.
Let's break it down a little because there's a lot to unpack there. First thing, did you notice how Allison came prepared? She didn't walk in and just say, "I want to cancel." She knew the clause, she knew the section, she even knew how long she'd been a member.
That's huge. Because the moment you walk in with specific information, the dynamic changes. The employee can't just brush you off with, "That's not how it works here." You've already done the work.
The other thing I want to highlight is the phrase formal written cancellation request. That's a key move. She wasn't asking permission, she was creating a paper trail, and she made sure the employee understood that.
And when the employee said they didn't have a form for it, she didn't back down. She said, "That's okay. I can write it by hand." She found a way around every obstacle without turning it into a confrontation.
The tone stays professional the whole time. She even says, "I've genuinely enjoyed being a member here." That's not weakness, that's smart. It keeps the conversation human.
Exactly. She's not the enemy. She just knows her rights, and she's not leaving without getting somewhere.
All right, hold on to that approach, because our next scenario is going to need it.
Okay, picture this. You've just landed after a 3-hour delay. Your connecting flight left 40 minutes ago. You're stuck in an airport you didn't plan to be in. Your luggage is somewhere no one can explain, and the airline's telling you there's nothing they can do.
In the next conversation, we're going to hear how Peter handles that situation at the airline desk. Watch how he pushes for real compensation, not a voucher, not an apology, and how he responds when the airline tries to walk away from responsibility.
Let's see how Peter does it.
Next in line, please. Hi there. How can I help you?
Hi, I need to speak with someone about a missed connection. I was on flight DL408 from Atlanta. It arrived almost 3 hours late, and I missed my connecting flight to Toronto. It left 40 minutes before I even got off the plane.
I'm sorry to hear that. Let me pull up your booking. Can I get your last name?
Morrison. Peter Morrison.
Okay, I can see the delay on your inbound flight. Unfortunately, weather disruptions are considered outside the airline's control, so in this case, we wouldn't be able to offer compensation. What I can do is rebook you on the next available flight to Toronto.
I appreciate that, but I'd like to address the weather point first. I've actually checked the FAA delay logs from this morning, and the delay on DL408 was logged as an operational issue, a late aircraft arriving from the previous leg. That's not a weather disruption. That falls under the airline's responsibility.
I'd have to verify that.
Of course. And while you do that, I want to make sure we're on the same page about what I'm entitled to. Under DOT regulations, when a significant delay is caused by the airline and results in a missed connection, passengers are owed a full rebooking at no charge on the next available flight, including on partner airlines if necessary, and reimbursement for reasonable expenses incurred during the wait.
We can definitely rebook you, but reimbursements are handled through a separate claims process. I can give you a form to fill out.
I'd like to do both, the rebooking now and the claim form before I leave this desk. But I also want to flag that I've been waiting here for over an hour and I haven't eaten since this morning. Is there a meal voucher I can get in the meantime?
Meal vouchers are usually only issued for delays over 4 hours.
My total wait time between the delayed arrival and the next available flight is going to be well over 4 hours. I landed at noon, and if the next flight isn't until this evening, that's 6 hours. So I think that does qualify.
All right. Let me get a supervisor to authorize that.
That'd be great, thank you. And one more thing. I checked in a bag this morning. Do you know where it is right now? Because if it went on the Toronto flight without me, I need to know how it's going to be returned.
Your bag is actually still here. It didn't make the connection either.
Okay, good. So it'll travel with me on the rebooked flight?
It should, yes. Let me make sure that's flagged on your new booking.
I'd really appreciate that. Look, I understand this is a tough situation for everyone, and I'm not here to make your day harder. I just need to get to Toronto, get my bag, and be taken care of while I wait. That's all I'm asking.
All right. Let me get my supervisor over here and we'll get this sorted for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, Peter. Where do I even start?
The FAA delay logs. That's where you start. Because that was the move that changed everything in that conversation.
Right. The agent came in with the classic weather disruption line, which, by the way, is the airline's go-to excuse because it completely removes their liability. And Peter had already done the research to counter it.
And here's the thing. Most people don't do that. Most people hear weather disruption and just accept it. Because it sounds official, and when you're exhausted and stranded in an airport, you don't have the energy to push back.
I've been there. Years ago, I missed a connection in Frankfurt, and the agent told me the same thing. Weather, nothing we can do. Here's a hotel voucher for the night. And I just took it. I didn't ask questions, I didn't check anything. I was tired, I was frustrated, and I didn't know I had options.
Exactly. And that's exactly why we're doing this episode. Because the language barrier isn't just about vocabulary, it's about confidence. It's about knowing what to say when someone in a position of authority tells you something that may not be true.
So here's a question for you listening. Think about the last time something went wrong in a situation like this. A delayed flight, a bad hotel room, a service that didn't deliver what it promised. Did you speak up or did you let it go?
Because there's no shame in letting it go. Sometimes it's just not worth it. But there's a difference between choosing to let it go and feeling like you have no choice.
That's the difference we want to close. Now, back to Peter. The other thing I want to highlight is how he layered his requests. He didn't dump everything on the agent at once. He tackled the delay classification first, then the rebooking, then the meal voucher, then the bag. One thing at a time.
That's a really underrated technique. When you throw 5 problems at someone simultaneously, they get overwhelmed and start shutting down. By keeping it sequential, Peter stayed in control of the conversation the whole time.
And then there's the phrase, "I'm not here to make your day harder." That's not small talk. That's a deliberate move. It shifts the dynamic completely. Suddenly the agent isn't defending the airline. They're just trying to help a reasonable person get home.
We saw the same thing with Allison, and we're going to see it again in the next one. So keep that in mind, being firm on the facts and flexible on the tone. Those two things together are incredibly powerful.
All right, 2 down, 1 to go.
Okay, last one. And this one hits a little differently because it's not a big corporation you're dealing with. It's a person, someone who has a face, who you're standing in front of, inside an apartment you already paid for.
You've just arrived after a long journey. You open the door and it's not what you booked. The place is dirty, the Wi-Fi's down, and the photos on the listing? Let's just say they were very creative.
And when you bring it up, the host looks you in the eye and says everything is perfectly fine.
In this last conversation, we'll hear how Sarah navigates that. She's polite, she's direct, and she knows exactly what leverage she has. Pay attention to how she documents the problem in real time and what she says when the host refuses to cooperate.
This one's tricky. Let's listen.
Ah, you must be Sarah. Welcome, welcome. Here are your keys.
Thanks. Actually, can I ask you about a few things before you go?
Of course. What is it?
So, the listing showed a fully cleaned apartment with high-speed Wi-Fi. I'm looking around right now, and the kitchen counter has dishes in the sink. There's dust on most of the surfaces, and the bathroom, I'd rather not get into that. And I've tried connecting to the Wi-Fi 3 times. It's not working.
Oh, that's all normal. The previous guests just left this morning, so there's a little bit of settling in to do. And the Wi-Fi, sometimes you just need to restart your phone.
I've restarted my phone, and I've tried my laptop. The network isn't showing up at all. I'm actually going to take a few photos of the current state of the apartment, just so we have a record of what it looks like on arrival. I hope that's okay.
There's really no need for that. Everything is in perfectly fine condition.
I understand you feel that way, and I'm not trying to be difficult, but the listing specifically states professionally cleaned between every stay and high-speed Wi-Fi included. Right now, neither of those is accurate. I'd like to find a solution together before I contact Airbnb support.
Look, I can send someone to clean tomorrow morning. That's the best I can do.
Tomorrow morning doesn't really work for me. I just got in after a 12-hour trip, and I was expecting to walk into a clean space. That's what I paid for. Is there anything I can do today?
I can come by later and take a look at the Wi-Fi myself.
That would help, yes. But I also want to address the cleanliness because I'm not comfortable staying here in this condition. If it can't be resolved today, I'd like to discuss either a partial refund or a relocation to an equivalent listing.
A refund? That's not something I do. You signed the booking terms.
I did, and Airbnb's terms also protect guests when a listing doesn't match its description. I'd prefer to sort this out directly with you, but if we can't reach an agreement, I'll need to open a case through the platform. They do have a resolution process for exactly this kind of situation.
Fine. I'll come by in an hour to fix the Wi-Fi, and I'll bring someone to clean.
I really appreciate that. If everything gets sorted, there's no need to take this any further. I just want the stay I booked.
I'll be there at 6.
Thank you.
That one was tense.
It really was. And I think that's what makes it the hardest of the 3. With the gym and the airline, you're dealing with a system, a company, a policy, a desk agent who's just doing their job. With the Airbnb host, it's personal. They own that place. They're standing right in front of you.
And that changes the pressure completely. A lot of people would have just said, okay, fine, I'll manage, and spent the whole trip uncomfortable and resentful. Because confronting a real person face to face is genuinely harder.
So, what did Sarah do well? First thing, She documented immediately. The moment she felt something was off, she took out her phone. She didn't wait. She didn't ask permission. She just said, "I'm going to take some photos. I hope that's okay." And that single move shifted the whole dynamic.
Because documentation is leverage. It's not a threat, it's a fact. And the host knew that once those photos existed, the everything is fine argument was a lot harder to hold on to.
The other move I loved. I'd like to find a solution together before I contact Airbnb support. She didn't lead with the threat. She offered collaboration first. But she made it very clear that the threat was there if needed.
That's negotiation 101, honestly. You don't open with your strongest card. You give the other person a chance to do the right thing, and only if they don't, you escalate.
And she stayed incredibly calm the whole way through. Even when the host got a bit defensive, she didn't match that energy. She just kept restating the facts.
Here's something to think about. Of the 3 conversations today, which one would you find hardest to handle in real life? The gym, the airport, or the Airbnb? Because for a lot of people, it's this one. And if that's you, that's worth knowing about yourself.
It really is.
All right, that's a wrap on today's episode. 3 conversations, 3 very different situations, but the same core approach running through all of them.
Come prepared, stay calm, know your rights, and never forget that being firm and being respectful aren't opposites.
If you want to practice any of these conversations yourself, we actually recommend pausing the episode and trying to recreate the dialogue from memory. It sounds simple, but it's one of the most effective ways to make this kind of language stick.
And if you've got a situation of your own, something that happened to you, a conversation you didn't feel ready for, send it our way. We read everything.
We'll be back next week. Take care of yourselves.
See you then. To keep taking your English to the next level, click on the next video or explore the others we've made for you.